everyone. Today we are talking about making templates in Transaction Desk. If you are online, I do have a 2-page handout for you, so feel free to reach out to me at wendy.schaller@realty1group.com and I can go ahead and send this over to you. But it's step-by-step on how to properly do the process. I am going to show you here, so if you want to follow along, just reach out to me. Otherwise, it's pretty easy video. So I'll go ahead and get this set up so you can see the screen. All right, it's a little lopsided, but there we go. All right, so when you log into your MLS, you're going to see all the little like icons down here. You're going to click on the Transaction Desk at the bottom here. And it's going to open up. And Transaction Desk is where you get and fill out all of your forms. So you can create a transaction and add the forms in one by one if that's what you want. Or you can go here on the far left, and the second to the bottom is templates. You're going to click on templates, and you're going to want to click on transaction templates. Once you do that, I have a couple in here already made, but let's pretend that we're starting fresh and we're going to make our own templates. You will come over here to the right and click on add, and you're going to name it. So I'm going to do buyer test, so I don't get my templates confused. And then we're making buyer side templates. And what's going to happen is it's going to open up to, and we're going to be able to add all of the documents we need for a buyer's transaction, the buyer side transaction. So the type, you're going to click on whichever template that you're making. In this case, we are making the residential sale. So you click on that and click save. It then opens up to this right here, and then if you scroll down, you'll see all of these other options that you can click on. But right now we want you to click on forms, and you can see it's empty. There are no forms in there, so we need to add the forms that we want for every buyer side transaction. Now they're pretty much the standard forms that you're going to use, and then from there, if you need different forms or addendums or counteroffers, you can pull those one by one. But at least for every buyer side transaction, you'll have these standard forms. So you're going to go to the far right again and click on that plus sign. And then it'll bring up your forms. We have the standard LVR forms, which is residential forms, and then we have our Realty One Group forms, and you're going to need forms out of both categories here. But what you're going to do is you're going to start typing in the forms that you need. So let's start with duties. We need a duties owed for every transaction. And we have the listing side and then the selling side. Well, since we are making buyer templates, we need to add the selling side. And once you click on it, it will add it to your basket. You do not need to add each one individually. Once you see it in your basket, you can then come to the search area, delete that out, and now we'll do residential purchase agreement. And then it'll pop up all of these forms. So you scroll down until you find the one that you want, which is right down here, residential purchase agreement. I clicked on it and it added it to my cart. So now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to erase this and go to the next one. Oops. Which would be, let's say, residential disclosure. And it pops up, oops, I spelled it wrong, disclose. As soon as you start typing it, it will pop up what the most common matches are. So we want the residential disclosure guide. Again, I click on it, it adds it to the cart, and then you just keep deleting and going back, and deleting and going back. And then once you've got all the forms in there that you want for that transaction, you will then click add. So now, once you scroll down, it will show you all the forms the standard forms that you have in each one. Now, what I suggest is now going in there and filling them out. So you're going to click on, say, the duties owed. Once that opens, I'm going to fill out all the standard information that's going to be saved. So the licensee in this transaction is going to be Wendy Schaller. And then my license number, S.61353, right? So now I have that. I don't know who I'm going to be acting for because at this time I don't have a buyer or seller. So I leave that blank, but I know that the broker is always going to be in here as Mark. Oh, oops, my space bar doesn't want to work. Otero. And then the company is going to be Realty One Group. All right. And then the rest, oops, I spelled that wrong. Oh, no. There we go. All right, and then the rest is, up for discussion, so I don't want to type that in there. But the ones I filled out are standard. And then I scroll down, and again, I'm not going to fill anything out the bottom because I don't have a buyer or seller. So once I do that, I'm going to go up here and click on Save, and Save, right? So now my form is saved, and then click Save and Exit. So now every time I access that duties owed in the buyer side, it will pop up with all of that information saved. So you're going to go into each document and fill it out, all of the standard information. So when you do have a buyer, all you do is click on Buyer Template, and it will pull up all of these forms with a bunch of stuff already filled out, and it will save you time of having to fill out all of the contracts over and over and over again, right? So once we have that done, that's making a template for each one. You can go back up, say you want to now start back over and do a listing side. So I'm going to click on Template on the left, Transaction Template, and then again, I'm going to click on the Add, and now this one I'm going to do Listing Test, right? And then I pick the type, which would be residential listing, and then I click Save. And then it will open up all of these that you can click on. Again, we're going to click on Forms. It's empty. So now I go back here and click on the plus sign. And then I start typing the forms that I need for the listing side. I know I need the duties owed and I need the listing side. So I click on that. It goes into my cart. I come back and go to the next form. And so on and so forth. So once you're done and you fill that out, then you click Add. Now I have listing forms and buyer forms, and then you'll go back in there again and fill out the listing side. This should be empty, yep, because now I filled out the one for the buyer side. Now I'm filling out the one for the seller side. So once you fill it out, you're going to click Save and then Save and Exit, and you're done, right? So we also have the option of adding clauses while we write our contracts. If you click over here, it's the third one up. Right here, it's clauses. Now what clauses are in additional terms or items that should stay in the home, you will write additional information or clauses, which are due diligence period to be extended for the same amount of time that the the seller's agent responds. So instead of having to write that out each individual time, you can just click on clause and it will input it in there. Saves you a ton of time. When you do clauses, you have personal clauses that you can add yourself, office clauses which the Realty One company has given you authorization to use. System clauses, we don't have any there. I'll click on that. You can see there's no clauses in there. But the office clauses are the clauses that Realty One Group agrees to allow you to use. So say the due diligence period. You can see in there it says, upon buyer providing seller with notice of objections and or request for repairs, buyer's due diligence period shall be extended by the same number of calendar days, blah, 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 blah. So all you would do is when you get to additional terms, you would click on clause and then pick which clause you want, and it would insert it in there so you don't have to retype this every single time you're filling out a contract. It's just saved in clauses. Now, if you go back, you can add your own clauses as long as it's approved, but you would click on personal clauses and you come all the way to the right and click on the add button and then hit add new clause. And now you're going to title it. I'm going to put test 2, right? And then on the content, you're just going to type whatever it is that you want to add in your clause. And then you hit save. Now I have 2 clauses in there on my personal one. And you go back and you just choose which clause that you want when you get to that section of the contract that you're filling out. But other than that, it's pretty simple. You can go in there and just create a transaction each time and add whichever documents you want and then fill out each document individually, or to save some time, you can make the template. So say you have a buyer that you have to write a contract for today. You open Transaction Desk, you hit Templates, you click Buyer Template, and all your documents are there halfway filled out. And you just input the important information that you're adding to those for that day. But other than that, if you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call. If you want the printout, just let me know, email me, and I'll get that sent over to you. Have a great day, guys.